Hello. Good afternoon. It's not morning anymore. It's afternoon. Um, Hi. Here's Kathy. Whoop. I'm just gonna get her to join this morning or this afternoon. I'm gonna keep saying this morning.
It's like
Oh,
I've been birthed into the, yes, it's like, Happy St. Patrick's Day.
happy St. Patrick's Day.
How do we hide out the comments? I'm like, oh, I don't even know. They always cover my face, but it's okay. I shouldn't be looking at my face. Okay, so I just have to tell you, remember how I said that we were going to do, like, 'cause it's Happy St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah.
that we would
Happy
have like a
St.
beverage.
Yes. I just have coffee.
Okay. But it didn't really turn out. It looks like
It kind of looks like baby poop.
yeah, a mossy green. I'm going with mossy green, but then if you look at the top, it's like a mint green. I'm not a barista. I
Well, you
don't.
tried. You did.
So
You tried.
I'm
I'm wearing that type of green as well. I had a hard
ah
time finding some green this morning, so I tried to incorporate it, different shades of green that maybe get overlooked at St.
right.
Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. I know. Well, I'm wearing my camo. Faith, don't you have one of these? A Faith?
I sure do. Do I know where it is right now?
No,
Couldn't
no
tell you.
judgment. I'm just saying. I think I remember seeing you wearing it. But these are hello, hello. So
Lots of
yeah, it's
gold.
St. Patrick's Day. What a special day. What a
It is a special.
special day. And you know who's not showing up? Maureen.
Well, I think she just did.
No, she's not.
Oh.
Okay. So shall I play our music and you can introduce us?
I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Ready, set. Just a second.
Ready, set, just a second. That should be the new way you say that. Welcome to Wait What with Kathy and Raina, a mother-daughter duo, just sharing an inside glimpse into our everyday conversations that seem to get deep real quick. And we just really never know where they're going to go. So welcome. This is episode 5?
Numero 5.
Yeah. 5. We're 5 deep. We're 5 in.
So obviously that means we started in February.
Yeah. And we were, you know what's really funny about this is we were like, we're just going to do once a month maybe. And now we show up every single week. Can't help it.
Well,
this has already given me a
headache. Yeah, I know. We just wanted to, we'll use them every year. I think, I want to just wear this hat.
That looks good. Oh, I like the band around. For those of you who will be listening to this on podcast, you'll have no idea what we're talking about right now. She just put on her Stevie's in charge. Stevie hat.
Yeah, Stevie hat. Hi,
yes,
Heather.
Her Stevie hat. She just. Wow, that is substantial.
It is.
It's like good on you though. And then look at your wall behind you. Your wall behind you with all of your collection. It's growing each week. You know what you remind me of? You remind me of Miss J on. Did you ever watch America's Next Top Model? And every time someone got cast off, he would wear like something around his neck, and it would get one more would show up each week, and it would get bigger and bigger. I don't know why that just popped into my head, but
I just really
hats onto your head. Like
I just wanted to bring her out because she's so
beautiful.
lovely.
So tell us about your hats and where you get them.
I get these hats from West Vaughan. I've become a huge fan of theirs for a couple of reasons, because I love their hats and they fit great. This one, they suggest sizing up, so I did. And they're right on the money, but you can adjust the inside of them, and I did. So except actually Stevie, yeah, Stevie, you can. I didn't adjust this one. I
And for
went up
those of
to
you who are wondering, Stevie is the hat.
anyway.
It's the hat is called Stevie, like
Yes,
Stevie
and
Nicks, right?
I believe it's after Stevie Nicks. I'm like, I think so, and I'm a huge
We're just
fan
gonna
of
go.
Stevie Nicks. But anyway, West Vaughan is a woman-owned and women-run company out of Vancouver. It's in BC. It's not quite in Vancouver. I don't know the total details, but their customer service is so good. She's so kind, and she actually seems to have a little bit of fun with an old lady like me. Yeah, I really like them,
Cool.
and they had a sale, which is like, oh. So it's basically, okay, I have a question. I'm putting it out
Yes.
there, and please, somebody like answer me. Leah, answer me, or Heather, answer me on this one. When you do some shopping online, well, Rainey, you can answer too, but do you ever buy that one more item to bring it up over that dollar amount so that you don't have to pay shipping? Does anyone do that?
Definitely tempting to do that. It is definitely tempting to do that. And then I think they know, that it is tempting for people to do that, because they even add on more. Like if you add on one more thing, or you're this much 200%,
200%.
you're this much away from getting this percent off if you add this much more on. And I'm always like, wait, what? I can get more, but I'm saving? Well, it's technically saving money, even though I'm spending more money.
Basically, you get some free. Like as a small business owner, that was never my intention. It's just like, okay, it costs us money. It's off the bottom line. Like shipping is a pain in the butt. It really is, but it is a necessary evil. And so, yeah, you put it at a certain point, and I'm like, oh, I'm so close. And it's when you're so close. It's not when you buy like something, that you've got a lot more to buy to get there. I was so close, and literally, for the $15 shipping that I saved, it cost me $70. So I don't think I saved any money, but I got another hat. It was a win.
Win-win
for everybody. Win-win. That isn't where we were gonna go.
Oh, that's a good one.
What?
Heather says, my husband always says I can't afford to save any more money. Yeah, that's good. I like that. So what are we talking about today? What are we doing here? What is happening?
I guess.
Wait, what?
Wait, what? We were going to talk a little bit about a person and we did talk about her last time, but we're gonna talk a little bit about a person who we want to honor today. It's her birthday. My mother, your grandmother. She would have been 91 years old today. Can you imagine?
I can imagine, actually. I can imagine her at 91. Yeah. So cool. She was such a cool person.
She definitely was. And I got to have 45 years with her. She passed away at 76, too soon, very suddenly, not ready at all. Not that you're ever ready for it, but it was a shock. I think everybody I know everyone was shocked because it was shocking. But she used to, when we were talking, you talk about women that inspire you. And in that, there can be that there's also women who inspire you, and there's women that you can be intimidated by. There's women that you can compare yourself to and be intimidated by that, feel less than. And it has nothing to do with the woman. It has everything to do with us. And, we all carry different things with us. And people that we think we know, and through social media like this, you know bits of us. You don't know all of us. And we all carry something. And that could be well, some burden or nothing. Some people might not carry anything. They
They
might be
travel
packing
light.
light. But my mother used to say this very, well, it always stuck with me and it stuck with you too.
Yeah.
She would say, you know what? If we all sat around a table, all of us, the human race, uh, and we put all our troubles in the middle of the table, we would take our own back every time
Hmm.
because we don't know what someone's walking through. And that I believe that to be true
Yeah.
in a lot of cases, and a lot of time it makes me think, when I start to compare myself, or I start thinking going down a negative road about myself, then I stop and I think, I'm like, what is that person carrying, and
Yeah.
why am I putting all my insecurities on that person?
Hmm.
They have enough. We have enough to carry without being responsible for someone else's ego, if I may be
Right.
so bold.
You're right.
Um, right?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do also with expectations that are I think there's a lot of assumed expectations um, of ourselves to measure up to certain standards or milestones or markers. Like our society is very driven by norms and meeting the measuring stick along your journey. I mean, you'll hear it from, if you're a mom, from the time your kids are born, the milestones, the percentiles, the all of
Oh,
the lining up, and
yes.
all that stuff definitely has its place, because you can definitely get insight to if something is wrong, or something is needs to be investigated further, or whatever road you need to go down. But we get exposed to that throughout our whole life, measuring up against the norms or what's considered to be the standard. And I think that kind of bleeds into every facet of our lives, and we internalize those expectations. And then in an age now with social media, when you see everybody putting out there what they want you to see, and of course carrying their own burdens, but wanting to put their best self forward
Oh,
in
yeah.
order to come across or portray something that they really want to be. um, that saying, we're all each other's mirrors, right? So if someone triggers you and starts you to go down kind of that shame spiral of comparison and being like, oh my god, like, why aren't I, why can't I, if I could only, I wish I was, or all that stuff, right? Like, it's very interesting.
It is. And I don't like, again, saying that, we don't need to carry other people's, insecurities. And that's not what, when I look at someone and go, oh, I wish I could be more like them. I'm all these things that I'm not, and they're everything that
Hmm.
I want to be. They don't even know. It's really not about them. It's about us, and
Yeah.
totally societal norms. Like, you know, being in moms groups, and
Oh man.
right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't look at those fondly, because
No.
I mean, there can be some really, I know women who have made amazing friends in moms groups and kept those friends over the years. Then there are moms
Yeah.
that go into those groups, and they're the mom whose child sleeps through the night, and the mom who, like, all hit these milestones, and they're doing this, and you're sitting there. And if you've ever watched Working Moms, I think most
I've
moms
seen a
could
couple episodes,
yeah,
but
most
yeah.
moms could relate to that, where like you have no sleep, the child isn't sleeping, you do things that, you're sleep deprived. There's
Yeah.
just all these things that your child isn't measuring up. What's
Yeah.
wrong with you? You automatically go to, what's wrong with me?
Well, and that definitely, like, just hearing you say that just brings up really vividly my experience with moms groups as a first time mom with my oldest. I remember we were living in a new community. Um, and I didn't know anybody, and I was really feeling pretty isolated. And when you're a first time mom, you have no idea what you're doing. Believe me, I read all the books, I did all the research, I did all the things, but I still had like just felt completely unprepared. And I remember going because you were assigned a mom's group based on your community and given the time and where you could meet up and where you could go. And I really wanted to, even though I was terrified to do it and it gave me a lot of anxiety, I made myself go do it. And I remember sitting in those sessions with all their babies on the floor, sitting in a big circle and everybody sharing. We had like a topic each week or whatever, and everyone sharing their experiences, and me sitting there and externally just nodding along, but internally that just like, oh my God, this is not my experience.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Why am I doing this wrong? What's wrong with my baby? All of these things. And just having like that internal like freak out, being like, and also not wanting to contribute or share my experiences because they weren't at all like anybody else's.
Did you
And
feel did you feel like if you shared your experience, you would be maybe, looked on differently, or you
well, and
wouldn't
I
have
learned very
support?
quickly, I learned very quickly not to share my experience because of the feedback I would receive. And um, it for for my personal experience, what that did to me, just based on the way that I am and the way that I process things, is people are well intentioned in trying to give you advice on what you should be doing, in order to get this specific result that's desirable for all moms in the setting that I was in. And so
Ooh.
I would go home and I would completely stress myself out. I would read all the books. I would try all the things. I would spend money on all these products, different things. I would try all these different things and just completely drive myself crazy trying to get my child to do what everybody else was doing. And it was really detrimental to my mental health. It had a big impact on, you know, how I experienced, my first year of motherhood. And it
And I don't,
was
we
really
want to
hard.
say, yeah, we want to say that this is not the norm for everyone, that
No.
not all mom groups are bad. It's so
And mine
important.
wasn't bad. My
Yeah.
mom's group wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Like, let me back it up, back up the train.
Yeah.
I still am friends with people from that mom's group, and I really, really like those people and appreciate that they had different experiences than me. And just because their experience was different doesn't mean it's bad or wrong. It's just that
No.
mine wasn't the same. And I
And
was
also,
comparing
sorry.
myself.
Yeah, and exactly it. You were bringing what you felt less than. It, like, you saw all of these things that looked like the ideal, and you in that went, I don't fit, like I'm doing something wrong, there's something wrong with me. So again, it's
Yeah.
us putting that pressure on those other
Expectation.
people, that
Mm-hmm.
it's not anyone else's issue but ours. But
No,
you want to be in, a safe enough place where you can talk. And I do believe, and share, I do believe, we are moving towards that. And it's like, we just
totally.
encourage people to find, people that are going to listen to you. You don't have to give me
Yeah.
any advice. I think that's the key right there. You don't have to
Yeah.
fix it. You don't have to solve it. Could you just listen and maybe go like this? Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Because even if, like, we've talked about this before, even if you and I went through the exact same, we had our babies at the same time, we had the same kind of birth, our kids are kind of the same. My experience and my reaction to my life and that whole scenario in my life is going to be completely different than yours. we are two different people. And that's the thing. And I guess like in this is, yeah, just listen without judgment and without giving advice, unless somebody says to you, oh please, like give me something, I need it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we just need to talk.
Totally. And I think like in other areas of our lives too, just like our tendency to want to gauge where we're at in terms of success, or in terms of shoulds, in terms of lining up with those expectations that are always out there, through what we see and what we consume through the media, and now especially social media has become that platform where we take in the most information about what's acceptable around us and what we should be doing and how we should be thinking, and where we should be in our lives at any certain point, right? What? Wait, what?
The only thing that's going through my mind is we shouldn't be shooting ourselves.
Totes. Yes.
And I talk about hummingbird and easily distracted. I still believe that eyebrow of yours comes from me, because I'm like, oh my.
It's in full force. I can't control it when I'm
no, but mine was too. And no one can see this, but have like
the more like ramped I get, the higher it goes, and then the other one's just like, nah, we're not interested. We're gonna anchor you down here on this side. We're not interested in getting ramped. And the other eyebrow's like, oh.
Yeah. And anyway, so it's my right eyebrow.
Okay, so I've completely lost it. I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. Moral of the story is this: there's a lot of freaking expectations out there, and most of the time, it's us, the person who's like, Mom! The person who is upset is really probably just upsetting themselves. It's your own fault. Deal with your shit.
I'm so sorry. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Bad, but this is exactly the truth. This is what happens in our conversations. And okay, so let's talk a little bit. Pikachu. Let's talk a little bit about women who inspire us, or even let's do that, and then we'll jump back into maybe a little bit of comparison. But like, who? Just it doesn't. So, who's a woman that inspires you? Like, it doesn't have. I don't. Just anybody off the top of your head. Got anybody? Got anyone? I'll drink my.
Let's take a second. Take a sip of a caffeinated beverage. Regroup. Because once I start the laughing.
I know. I'm so sorry. It was my bad.
It's okay.
I'm not even going to say anything. Anyway, so a woman who inspires you.
Well, I mean, again, we talked about this, and I said I didn't have anything prepared because we were going to talk about this.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to say? I'm just going to hop in here because there are so many women that inspire me. Maybe this will inspire you. Somebody's going to inspire you. And what I want to say is it's probably a lot of women that I've worked for, leaders, people that I've mentored and have mentored me. I look at women like in general as trailblazers. And my daughters, you guys all inspire me for different reasons. And I'm going to tell a little story. Yeah, I'm just going to tell a little story about you guys. We lived in Petawawa, and there wasn't a whole lot of places to shop. Yeah. Okay.
That is the truth.
And this is nothing against, I'm not even going to say the place that I went to go shopping at, but it was a big no, Mom, you are not wearing that. I'm like, you guys are like, you weren't even
We were
teenagers
cutthroat,
yet.
weren't we?
Yeah, you're like,
Pretty
you're not
cutthroat.
wearing that. And I believe that you said that with an ulterior motive. That knowing that you were going to grow up and you were going to be wearing my clothes.
Fair enough.
So there was a.
I don't know that I planned that far ahead, but I'm gonna go with it and say that yeah, that's what I was thinking, Mom.
I don't think that was it. You just didn't want me to look like a mom. And I mean, floral tops or teddy bears were not a thing for.
And large loons. Is that giving away?
With the, and I know pleated pants are coming back, but you know what, people? That's not a fashion trend. Yeah.
With the scrunchy top?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of, scrunchy.
Yeah. Scrunchy, whatever. But you guys always were, well, you helped me with fashion. You actually were quite wise for young ladies. And as women and mothers, totally inspired me and taught me so much when it comes to.
Sounds like we shamed you. Sounds like we're horrible.
No.
Okay, Mom, you can't wear that. It's not cool enough. Wear something else. You can't look like Mom.
And you know what? I listened to you. I just did what you told me to. But no, and for the majority of our relationship and time together, I have had so much fun. I've learned to look at life in so many different ways, from different lenses, not just my own, trying to, really have empathy and looking at things from different perspectives. So I'm just grateful. So I'm inspired by many young women in my life. Go ahead.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Officially and say that did inspire me, because you talking about us really just kind of made me think, like, I'm going to talk about you for a second, because you think about it. So you had your first baby at 20 years old, correct?
I just before I turned 20, yes.
Just before you turned 20.
I was 19, but 20,
19, yeah. And you were a military spouse.
Mm-hmm.
We had long stints of time during our childhood where our father was deployed somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And you, as a young adult,
was young.
Yeah, you were so young, had to man the fort with 3 kids, all like, what are we, like 18 months apart? We're like pretty close together.
I had, well, 3 and under. I had, yeah, you guys were.
Yeah, and I've said multiple
times. And we figured out what we were doing, and we got that fixed. Right? Every time your dad came home. Yeah.
Exactly. So anyways, we don't need to talk about that part.
No,
what I'm trying to say is that you inspire me so much, because I have to say, like, growing up in a military family, living on army bases and moving, like being posted and moving to different places, it's not easy. It's a difficult way to live and to raise a family. And add on to that the reality that most of the mothers, well, almost all of the mothers in that situation, are doing a huge amount of single parenting. Mm-hmm. And managing everything on their own. And at that time, like, I really don't think there was very much support other than your community.
When you were talking, I was like, we didn't have official support systems.
No, you didn't have it. You just had to do it. And I have to say, like, thinking about my childhood with you, we had no idea if we would never have known you were under stress. You were always so much fun. No, this is from my experience. You always made things so much fun. You always tried to find the fun in things. You always made things a game for us. You always, like, it was always just, you found joy in everything and really gave us a lot of fun and let us be kids during those difficult transitions or times. And we, like, I don't think I ever felt like, wow, like this must be really hard for her. She's on her own and she's looks like she's drowning or she's struggling. Like I never would have known. Like all I remember is like my mom used to, in our house, she would decorate our rooms and make them like themed and have like all these wonderful things. And we would do theme cleaning and everything to music. And we just had so much fun growing up. And you were just such an incredible, strong, wonderful mother who just took really good care of us, considering that you didn't have official support systems in place. You were so young and you were basically on your own. So I just have to say that's pretty incredible. And I can't imagine. I had my first baby at 29, so that's 10 years after you, and I still felt completely overwhelmed and underprepared.
And you know, I can say thank you very much, and I'm happy that you felt that way, because my mother was an Army wife, so I came from that growing up. And I think you learn a lot while watching. You know, it's and we can go. That'll be a whole nother topic about the things that we do as mothers. That you don't say anything, but your actions speak louder than words, and it can be very detrimental, actually. But anyway, you know what? I had a blast. I loved being a mom. I loved that journey in my life, and we did have a lot of fun. And when your dad was home, we still had a lot of fun. Your father was always engaged with you guys. It worked. And the community that we had around us was women, like you said, like-minded women, because we didn't have the resources that they have now. Thank God they have resources, because the climate has changed. Soldiers are doing so much more. There's so much more deployment. It's higher risk. There's so many things. But yeah, it is. Well, we had a lot of fun, and I loved being a mom. And I learned a lot from my mother, because my mother was a military wife, and my sister was a military soldier. And she was a single mom who I look at that, and that's a woman who inspires me to this day. She's a little bit older than me. I'm not going to say, but quite a bit older than me. And she had to put up with a little sister who, she had to put up with me, but she is like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And I watched her walk through life and just, no matter what the obstacle, just overcome and actually flourish in it. And she's amazing. So again, having community around you, and I was lucky enough to have a sister around me as well, and we got each other, so there was a lot of support there. But anyway, isn't that interesting how we ended up here talking about?
I know we didn't know that was going to happen, but hey, you know what? That's cool.
That is exactly what our conversations are about. And we are really going to talk about, in the next, it's 2 weeks, I think, we're going to be talking about women in music that inspire us. Just women that we like. Both of us are musical. We don't play an instrument, but we love to sing.
You are an incredible singer.
I love to sing. We can talk about that journey one day. We can talk about, there's so much. You can talk about that insecurity thing and comparison, and that is, I think about that, in life, comparing ourselves to someone, sometimes it isn't bad.
Yeah,
it's all in how you utilize it in your brain, and how that you have to tell yourself the truth. That's the problem is the lies you tell yourself. Hi, Tammy. The problem is the lies you tell yourself. And in comparing yourself, if you're like, you're wanting to do something and you're watching someone do something, you can be inspired by them and take their journey and go, okay, what can I apply to my life? What fits, what doesn't? And that in itself, maybe that's not comparison. It's just looking at someone and being inspired by them to do something
Right.
differently.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think too, like, I think there are definitely, like, when I think about insecurities and comparison and how that can actually affect your self-esteem or how you feel about yourself or what you do or those types of things, I think, and I'm noticing that a lot with my kids too, like watching them grow up and how their personalities develop and things like that. Like, I think that what I'm trying to say, oh my God,
what are you trying to say?
I'm having a hard time today. What I'm trying to say is I think we have a predisposition to, I think there are people, and this is a generalization, it's obviously not black and white, but there are people who are, just inherently more confident in themselves, and there are people that are inherently more, like, have more self-doubt and more insecurity and more are harder on themselves and seek to compare themselves to other people in a more, I guess, almost harmful way to themselves. And there's all this research and all these things that I've seen where it talks about how you can cultivate confidence and you can really work towards growing your confidence and utilizing your own unique gifts and really allowing yourself to step into your power that way. So I find that all really interesting too, is it's like
Well,
just
well, remember what we talked about? I think it was probably 2 weeks ago. Drawing inspiration from others comes from abundance. Comparison that leads to jealousy and bitterness. Yes, so good. And what we said a couple of weeks ago was confidence is, and this is from Sarah Nicole, confidence is being afraid, shaking in your boots, but still going out and doing it. And some people call that brave. Some people call that, I mean, people can call it a whole bunch of things, but you gain confidence by actually stepping into something when you're unsure. You don't
yeah.
get confident by sitting and going and watching those
Mm-hmm.
other people do the things that that you wish you could do. You get confident stepping out in what it is that you desire to do, even though you're afraid. And then when you're in it, you're like, it's kind of like you gain a little bit of momentum. It's like doing something like this. I used to do live interviews with people, and they would be so afraid, but did it. And at the end of it, they were like, I can't wait to do that again, because they're stepping into the unknown.
Yeah, and I do
So
think it's important to note also that I think it's important to note that it's also very subject to a person's environment and experiences. And
yes,
why I want to bring that up is because I definitely think, I've heard the abundance and scarcity mindset, and I do think that there is definitely some validity to that. But I also think it's important to note circumstance and environment, because some people's experiences up until this point, they're not nurtured in a way that would create opportunities for them to want to, or even have the tools or the skills or knowledge of how to go about just cultivating confidence or putting themselves out there and just switching their mindset to, an abundance mindset and that type of thing. I
right.
think it's really important to note that you do the best you can with what you know, and what you like, accessibility to tools and information on how change your mindset and rewire the way that you think and approach things in a new way is
Yes.
definitely an accessibility thing for people.
Totally.
And I just think it's important to say that, because sometimes these type of discussions can be disempowering for people, thinking, again, this is another way to compare, and another way to think you're not meeting the standards is
Right.
like, oh, I'm having this negative feeling about myself because that's the way I'm thinking right now, and oh, why can't I just have an abundance mindset, or why can't I just go out there and do the
And
thing?
Tammy's
And
saying, yeah, environment and experience factor in for
yeah,
sure.
I just
And
think it's an
I think,
interesting thing to keep in mind,
oh, totally, totally. And I think though, I look at it and it's like, again, it's the lies we tell ourselves. And I mean, this, my perspective comes from 60 years of telling myself lies, but still pushing through, because that's
yeah,
my temperament. I'm like, it didn't
right,
matter if I was afraid of something, I was going to do it, and I would gain confidence to be
yeah.
easily broken, of course,
And
because insecurity comes into it.
that was probably modeled to you from other people in your life, like the strong women we've been talking about, like your mother or your sister, or you had opportunities to see how
Yes, totally.
people would overcome things like that, right?
Yep.
And some
Yep.
people grow up in really toxic environments with really, people that aren't there to model positive behaviors or ways of thinking. And yeah, it's just an
Well, there's,
interesting
yeah,
little
life.
part to the puzzle there. But I definitely
Yes.
think that there's a really interesting book that I actually have that I haven't read yet, but I've read bits and pieces, and I've heard a lot of really good things about it, about how we can change our brain. We can rewire our brain. And I'll have to find the information on it because it's one I really do want to read. But I think the resilience we have in creating new pathways and new ways of thinking within our mindset and within our brains is something that is
Yeah, knowledge is
a
power.
really cool aspect of being human,
Yeah,
because
knowledge
you
is
you don't
power.
have to stay stuck, right?
Yeah. And that's, again, you don't, knowledge is, it does give us fuel, and depending on what knowledge you're getting and examples that you have in your life. And I mean, if we dissect our growing up, all of us, like, again, we'll go back to what my mom said. I mean, I can put a pile of problems in the middle of the table and I'm going to take them back every time. Was my childhood perfect? Was your childhood perfect? Were there obstacles? Were there things that caused me to be or think less than of myself? For sure. But again, I always go back to this is a quote from Clint Eastwood in Heartbreak Ridge. Adapt, overcome, and improvise. That's what an
Yeah.
infantryman does. And I was like, that's what women do.
I heard that saying a lot growing up. Definitely
Yep.
did.
Adapt, overcome, and improvise all the
Yes.
time. It was like,
And
what is the
Amanda
world throwing
said,
at me?
I agree. A lack of confidence can come from those who always want or see the best in others and don't know how to see the best or expect the best from themselves.
So we
And
go
yeah,
right back to the beginning when we said, it's like when we compare ourselves to others and we think less of ourselves, it has nothing to do with the person that we're comparing ourselves to. It has everything to do with the lies that we're telling ourselves.
yeah,
And we're oftentimes comparing apples to oranges.
right.
And
It's completely different, right?
totally,
Yeah. And I think
totally.
it's really interesting how, you know, we, like Amanda's saying, you always see the best and are impressed by other people and have the ability to just like really um, think other people are so wonderful and lift them up and help them with their confidence. But
Mhm.
it can be really hard to see that in ourselves. It can be so hard to see the good qualities about ourselves, right? And yes, neuroplasticity. I didn't want to whip out that word because I thought that it might be like, you know, me. I love The brain
Yeah, and you know what? You are
fascinates me.
I was trying to find my apple because it was doing apples and oranges, but I just couldn't find it.
Oh, that's weird. I'm gonna be a pineapple
Yeah,
for the
pineapples are
last little bit.
amazing.
But yeah, you know, we were all over the map today, and that just happens sometimes. Just happens.
I think you know what? It wasn't too bad. You know what? I learned something, and I think that's important. We're just,
Yeah.
we're just two ladies just having a conversation, like we said. It's just what we do. Well,
Definitely.
so this was amazing. I'm so grateful for those of you who tune in. And we know that this was 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, and it is St. Patrick's Day. And you know what? If you guys want my recipe for my latte,
For your beautifully colored
yeah, what the heck was up with
latte.
that? That is just like, that was ridiculous. That did not turn out at all. I had such high hopes for that. Is anybody having green beer tonight? Anybody? Anybody? Green beer?
No,
Anybody do
I
that?
can't say that I am. No.
Making green cupcakes, doing anything. Anybody doing anything interesting? No? Well, I might just have, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to have. Oh, hey, Leah. Yeah. Are you going to have a green beer tonight? My grandma made.
Ooh.
Oh, your grandma's amazing. Possibly green sour beer? What is that?
I've
Beer, but
never.
not green. Okay.
Is it cider?
Is it
Made out of
cider?
apples?
Tammy, is it made with apples? Maybe I'll go out and get some green sour beer. Can you buy it? Questions? All right. Well, you know what? We're going to say goodbye now.
Okay.
Oh, sour beer. Oh, okay. Sour beer, colored
We're
green.
signing off. We're
Yeah, we're
signing off.
signing off,
We're wrapping
guys.
it up.
She doesn't even know. We're wrapping it up. Just a minute. We got to put our tunes on.
Okay.
I really want to try this sour beer, Tammy. One day when we actually meet face to face. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.